everyone, this is Kelly Giese, independent stamp demonstrator for Stampin' Up. I always mess that up, but at some point I will stop tripping over my tongue there. This is my fourth card for September, using again the Autumn Suite that is in the new mini catalog that went live on September 6th. Today when this video goes live, and it's actually in the center of the catalog, so it's pretty easy to find what page it's on, and we've been celebrating the beautiful stamps, and this time we are also going to incorporate the beautiful embossing folder that is in here. So we've used the dies, we've used the stamps, we've used this, we're using some of the beautiful paper, and of course we have some of the designer series paper that we're using. We're going to be using the one with the books on it. Absolutely love this paper. I kind of, went kind of crazy. I was like, I can do a bunch of these videos now because I absolutely love this paper. Now I'm just going to move my camera just slightly there. Sorry for the jiggle. And we are going to get started. This is the beautiful card we're going to be making. We have an embossed piece. We have some designer series paper. We have some things that are cut out. We have the ribbon. There's a copper ribbon, and there's also this ribbon here. And we're going to actually fray this ribbon. And then we have our dimensionals. And then on the inside, we're going to lay in some beautiful leaves for the inside. So with that being said, let me see if I've got all my bits and pieces in the kit for you. And I should. Hopefully everything's in there. So we have a piece of ribbon. We have our designer series paper. We have our embossed sheet of paper. This embossed sheet of paper is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. This is your inside piece for your sentiment or writing, and this is also 5 1/4 by 4, and your card base, which is made out of the copper clay, and it is 8 1/2 by 5 inches. So I said that wrong. 5 1/2 inches, scored at 4 1/4. So here they are, scored at 4 1/4. You can use your bone folder, or if you have fingernails like I do, you can probably just smush it to crease it a little bit better. So we're just going to start with the first thing that's pretty easy, and that is we're going to put down these two pieces of paper and our inside, and then we'll do some stamping. So I'll start with the inside piece, and I don't know why I turn it over. It's the same on both sides, but for some reason when I pick it up, it's like, well, turn it over and then put your adhesive on it so you can put it on the inside. This is going to be a portrait card, so it's going to be up and down. So there we go. There you go. The inside's done. That wasn't too hard. Well, it's mostly done. I shouldn't say it's done. Now you have the choice. You can pop this up. I chose not to because other parts of this is popped up, and I want the texture. I don't necessarily want the bulk. So because this is a embossed piece, I put just a little bit extra on here for the adhesive, more than my Z. It's like a Z with a little bit extra, and about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I'm just going to set this down. This is a distressed piece, so it's like a quadrifoil, but parts of it are distressed. That doesn't mean your die is broken. It means that your embossing folder is broken. It's supposed to look like that. And now I'm going to put my books on there. Isn't this pretty? And the other side's just as pretty. I mean, you could just go like that if you chose to, if you wanted it to be just more subtle. But I like the books, so I'm going to put the books up. Again, sometimes this wants to be just a little bit fussy when it starts, but then it's just really easy after that. So I'm not sure why it does what it does sometimes. Sometimes the adhesive gets stuck in certain spots and then it just keeps grabbing it. So I just go in and pick it out, roll it up in a ball, and throw it in the trash. Pick this up. Now this should be the same 5 1/4 inches. You can do about 1/2 inch in and just make it as straight as you can. and set it down. Now the books are not straight, but the paper should be straight. The books look like they're slightly angled, and that's on purpose because it's like you're looking down the row. And then we are going to do our stamping. Let's do stamping next. The hardest part of this is this piece right here, and we'll get to that shortly. So inside here, you should have, if it is done correctly, you should have a total of 2 maple leaves, 2 little leaves, and 2 of the oak leaves, okay? And one should be the copper and one should be, so one is copper and then the other one is the pretty peacock with copper. So you should have a total of 6 of those, a sentiment, and then also our envelope. So we are, because these are polymer, we are going to get our piercing mat out. I'm going to grab a piece of paper just to stamp on top of in case I go over. And the first thing we're going to do is our sentiment, and I'm going to pick it up. Remember, there are 2 sides to these, so if you need to flip it because you made it crooked, you have 2 sides to it. This is going to be in the copper clay. And I'm using the I'm thankful. I'm just going to make sure I've got, I do a tap tap and then I look at it, and so I am going to go ahead and commit and put that down, pressing equally. You'll find that if you are stamping into something like a piercing mat, that little bit of give that's in there, make sure that your stamp, when you stamp, it's pretty you know, it adheres all the way around. It's like it hugs it a little bit, so then you don't have like partial stamping. So that's my sentiment, and now I'm going to do my leaves, and I'm just using Cajun Craze for this. I'm not stamping off. I'm going to do the first one full strength. That's pretty dark. And then I'm going to do the back one just with the second stamp. Both are just as beautiful. These look like they're older than these. Different oak tree. So that's going to go off to the side. That'll go over here. Let me shut up the inks before I'm wearing them. And I shall set those up there. Okay, so the thing with this is you're going to build your leaves onto your sentiment. So you're going to pick, maybe you want, I did a gold one. I did a peacock, and then I did another gold on the front. And I adhered it to the back of my sentiment like this. Okay, I'm adhering it directly to this. So the easiest thing to do is you can glue it, or you can just figure out the tip of it, and on the silicone mat makes it easy, because if I go over, it's going to be on the silicone mat and it will come up. So I am just going to turn this over, and I'm going to just go, oh, there we go. I just want it to stick. Then I want this one in there too. I may want that one a little bit higher. I'm just building some dimension here. And then my last one, I'm just going to put it, I think I'm going to hide her, make it be like a fan. So that is my sentiment, and I'm just going to leave that like this. Now what we are going to do is we are going to take this piece and we are going to fray it completely. There is one side that when you pull from it, it will pull up and not cause a knot. Okay, this side seems to be knotting, so I'm just going to stop on that side for a moment, and I'm going to go over to the other side and start pulling one side. See how this one's pulling so much easier? I am literally going to pull away all of that that makes this into a ribbon. I'm just pulling it apart. Now there are a couple ways that you can adhere this down, and I'm going to keep pulling this for a few minutes. And I'm going to show you one way, but I'm also going to show you another way. It's whatever you are comfortable with when you go to put this down. This is longer than it needs to be, and it is on purpose, okay? So what I do is I take my adhesive, and I kind of guess where I'm going to be putting my sentiment. Okay, my sentiment's going to go somewhere in here. So I'm going to put some adhesive right in here. And I want a good amount of it. I want this good and gooey, you know, about that amount. And I'm going to keep fraying this. It seems a shame to take a whole ribbon apart, but it really does have a beautiful effect at the very end. And see, it's starting to pull apart there. So I'm just going to finish it off and lay it in a clump, keeping it in a clump. So it's kind of in a clump here. And I'm going to smash it out over this. I'm trying to get all the little threads stuck on there. If that makes sense to you, I hope it does. Okay. Now, you can come through at this point and put a piece of tape over it if you like. The other thing you can do is when you have it in a clump, you can take this and put tape around it and then adhere that down. Either way works. I'm just going to take a little bit of tape here, and I'm not even going to take a full piece of tape. I ripped it in half. This is regular just Scotch tape. There's nothing fancy about this tape at all. It's just going to go on top. So anything that didn't adhere to the bottom is now adhered to the top. Okay, so I've got my sentiment that I created, and I'm going to put some dimensionals on it. Yes, there is some gooey on there. That's okay. So let's get our dimensionals on here. I am going to put one right over that spot. It kind of seals the deal for those leaves. They're not going to go too much. They're not going to go farther than where they're at. And I don't know, I really like this card. It's inspired by a card in the actual catalog. I just changed it up a little bit for me. It's very similar, but I changed it up a little bit for me, just slightly. And then again, you can take your pick tool and you can just pop these off. I mean, it's pretty easy to get them off that way. And see, all 5 of them are there. I can just pop that into my dustbin that's right next to me. And I can go and put this on here. Now I'm going to put it on as straight as I can. That doesn't mean anything. Now you're going, this is just kind of a hot mess at the bottom. Yeah, it sort of is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with my scissors, and I'm just going to snip off little bits of it. It's okay. It's okay if it's not all one length. And if you think it's too far up the top, pull it together and give it a haircut. There you go. We got a good haircut there. A little bit of a straggler. And maybe there's more stragglers. Let's see what happens when we get all the fuzz out of there. Oh, well, maybe it should be a little bit shorter. So I'm going to just pull it up again. I'm going to kind of hold it. And we'll give it another haircut. We'll just take off a little bit more. There. It's a little bit messy, but it's kind of fun. I just like how this goes. You know, it's subtle. It's a subtle dimension. But you can do this with a lot of the ribbons that are like linen. Not a gross grain or anything like that. That won't work that way. So now I've got my front side done on both cards, but this is pretty naked in here. So you can have yours. I have these stacked going up, but you can easily stack them going down. So we're going to use our silicone mat here, and I'm just going to put some adhesive on there, and I am going to just, I'm doing it in a different spot. I'm going to have them come down because I can. Oh my goodness. But I hope you like these cards. I had a lot of fun playing with this suite. I have a couple other cards I can show you that I made with this suite that I thought were fun. And, you know, I was just trying different things. And the more I played with it, the more I loved it. I love this paper. There's some beautiful paper in there that could be used any occasion. It doesn't really have to be fall. But, you know, it could be any occasion. So that's my inside for this one. So this one they're kind of falling down on. This one they're stacking up. Either way is nice. This is a little bit shorter in here. This is a little bit longer. But either way looks beautiful if you ask me. Let me show you those other couple of cards that I made with this. It does make a mess if you have to trim. But I suggest trimming after, only because of the fact that it is a little bit difficult if you are you know, trying to figure it out and hold on to it. They might get a little bit cattywampus. So I did this one particular card here, and this was using, I did some gold leafing, and this was just me messing around really, and then some of the embossed leaves, and again using that designer series paper for just to add a sparkle. That was one. And then the last one I think is kind of cute, and this was using this one set that has birds in it. It's called a bird's eye view, and I just had some leftover books, and I thought, you know what, I always think this is fun to have those birds. I love those birds. And then on the inside I just put more books. So this could be, you know, somebody going off to school, beginning of a school year, beginning of college. Maybe they're starting their master's. That's what I was thinking of. And anybody who's a bookworm, you know, if I had a worm, I would have put that on there too. Anyways, I want to thank you all for viewing my videos, and have a lovely evening. Thank you again. Bye-bye.